Like, right? I mean, just there's no way around it. Like, you're an actual full-blown superstar. Definitely the most famous friend that I have.
But I watched you all the time on Jackass, so I don't see it that way.
Okay,
She was like,
enough.
"Fuck, everybody's got a podcast. All right, I'll do Steve's."
I'll give I'll give myself a little bit of credit, but you're just a bona fide superstar, and I feel like that for me, and I'm pretty comfortable with it because like I'm not such a big deal that if I like say something crazy, like it's gonna become a story, or I'm not gonna like I don't have paparazzi chasing me around. So what I'm dying to know is like if and when you leave your house, like are there people popping out of the bushes and like snapping photos of you like constantly?
So I've gone to the grocery store.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I've gone to the grocery.
Gone to the grocery store a couple times, and I didn't see them. So they're actually kind of sneaky with me. I think they've learned that if they do show themselves, I'll just stop showing up. So like they literally, but it was weird. I got this feeling that somebody was watching. Anyways, so I didn't actually see them, but then pictures showed up later. Nobody actually knows where I am right now because I'm not where I was living. And it's really nice because I'm able to do stuff right now that, I'm not typically able to do. And it's really nice just to sit in my front yard and, just not worry. It's nice. But,
I mean, I can only imagine what it would be like, and I'm such an attention whore through and through. I mean, every little fiber of my being just cries out for attention, and I want so much to be like as big of a star and as famous as I could possibly be, but I can't rule out the possibility that there's like a level where it's like, oh man, why do I have to be so famous? Do you ever feel that way? Like,
there's definitely moments where I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good. Like, I don't want to get more famous. Like, if it gets any worse than this, I gotta like take a step back. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's just so much to deal with. Nothing can prepare you for this. There's no manual. There's no there's nothing that tells you,
right.
Okay, this is fame. This is what you're going to deal with. You can't prepare, and especially as a child getting into the industry, you don't know what you're getting into.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely times where I'm like, this is a lot. But, I take it day by day, and I really don't I always say I don't like the fame aspect of it. I like the singing. So if I could quit tomorrow and, have some sort of Hannah Montana identity, that would be my ideal lifestyle. Like I would love to not be famous, but still get to tour and perform. And it just doesn't work like that. So that's my problem.
Right. I
just want to go to Starbucks without taking 20 photos.
I'm almost the other way around. I'm like I can't sing, and I'm not like particularly talented in any classic way, but I will shove things up my butt if it will make people want to take pictures with me in public. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, like I've always said that I'm not like an attention, or I'm not an adrenaline junkie or a thrill seeker. I'm just an attention whore. Like that's it. It's whatever it takes to get people to look at me. But it's interesting. So speaking of being an attention whore and constantly filming myself, there was that time, and I think that was 2013 as well, where I went to like sex shops in West Hollywood and got all this like crazy bondage gear and like chains and like assless chaps. It was just this suit made out of rubber with like a gimp mask and a zipper for the mouth. And I went around handcuffing myself to shit so that like, I would just be discovered by people. And it was this parking garage in West Hollywood, and I had no idea. I was just like, oh, okay, cool, set up the cameras and I'll handcuff myself to the railing, and whoever comes down the stairs when they walk around this little landing, all of a sudden they'll be confronted by this creepy gimp. And it wasn't even like I did it over and over and over. I did it once. And the only person who came down those stairs was Demi Lovato. Like, I mean,
What were you thinking when you saw that? Like, the last thing on your mind is that was going to happen.
oh, dude,
to
it was
you.
the best reaction too. Like there was this, I set up the cameras like a pro, and there was just this moment of like full on shock. Like she literally thought she was gonna die.
I literally, because like, first of all, I didn't know what a gimp was, like a gimp suit. I didn't know what that was until you said it. That like somewhere along the way that night you said it, and I was like, okay, I guess that must be what this is.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I think the first thing that went through my head was like, I was kind of slightly terrified, and then once that like wore off, because I was like, oh, he's handcuffed. There's nothing he can do. I need to take a picture of this because nobody's going to believe me. But I didn't want to be rude, so I was like, can I take a picture?
Like not rude at all, and that's all I ever wanted was for people to take pictures of me.
That's why he's dressed up like a gimp.
Right.
I know.
And I remember it was like, it was just so cool of you. Like I was like, hey, you know, can you sign this release form so that I can? Because I wanted to be like real careful about putting, this, you know, like put it on YouTube, and like you were like, yeah, 100% for sure. Like, you know, it was super cool. Like, I remember it's the same thing with Justin Bieber, because I like was filming some video. I'm dressed up as a clown running around Venice at the Venice skate park. Just bumped into him. We're like, oh my god, like dude, will you sign a release? He's like, fuck yeah, for sure, no problem. Like,
Yeah.
And it's interesting too because on the topic of MMA and like I'm a known like humongous fan of MMA. Like I do not miss a fight. I watch early prelims starting at like 3 p.m, and I sit there for fucking 6 hours, like watch every single fight. And it's because like following you drew my attention to Ronda Rousey, and I was like, oh, let's check this out. And I just didn't even realize, oh my god, like I love this. And then that's why I became such a fan of MMA. And,
Oh, that's dope.
right. And when I was starting to plan out like how to do a podcast, I would think of questions and write them down. And I had this whole thing, and I'm buddies with Dana White, the president of the UFC, and I wrote down this question, like, Dana White, how come there's been celebrity boxing? There's been all kinds of, you know, you see celebrity boxing all over the place, but there's never been celebrity MMA. It's
Yeah.
never, like, why not? And like, why wouldn't they have like the celebrity ultimate
Yeah.
fighter? You know, like, so I had that question written down. After I wrote down that question, then all of a sudden I see all the news that Justin Bieber challenged Tom Cruise to a
Yes.
fight in the octagon. And it just so happened that like that same exact week, Dana White's assistant reached out to me and said, hey, Dana wants to invite you to be at the season premiere for the Contender Series here in Vegas. Do you want to come? And I said, I said, fuck yeah, I want to come. And like, can I get Dana on camera for a minute when I'm there?
Yeah.
They said for sure. So I had this fucking van. I get Dana in the van. He has no idea what I want to ask him. And I said to Dana White, Dana, I've watched this news about Justin Bieber and Tom Cruise, and I think Tom Cruise is afraid of Justin Bieber, but I'm here to tell you that I am not afraid of Justin Bieber. and I asked him would he put on a fight between me and Justin Bieber, because I wanted to raise money so that my girl and I can start our own animal sanctuary. And Dana White said, I edited the shit out of this whole thing. I mean, I put it out as a video on YouTube. I edited it so heavily to cut out like 90% of the conversation, which was Dana White wanting nothing to do with it whatsoever. He was like, dude, I don't know what commission would put that on. You know, like it wouldn't be legal, you know? Yeah. But
I have a funny Dana White story.
oh, I want to hear it.
Okay, so there was one time where I was trying to put on the fight, and it was right when they switched from UFC Fight Pass to ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
And
Fox.
so I was like trying to figure it out, and I was so used to like just going to the Fight Pass app and hooking up the fights that way. And then all of a sudden now there's all these extra steps and I couldn't figure it out. So I Instagrammed on my Instagram story. I posted like, what's the point of UFC Fight Pass now? Like, if you can't even watch the fights on it, because I'm trying and I'm about to miss like some really good fights right now. Like, right? Like I'm getting like frustrated because I can't get it to work. And all of a sudden I get this text with like instructions and it says like, go to espn.com/da-da-da. And it's got the instructions and I just reply. I was like, thanks, but who is this? And and he replied, it's Dana White from the UFC. I was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry.
Epic.
Like, never Instagram story about
Wow.
like, UFC not working, because you will get a text from Dana White.
Ooh, that would be awful.
Hey, real quick, who's your favorite MMA UFC fighter?
You know what? I'm gonna go with
Rose.
I love DC, but I also love a friend of mine named Emily Whitmire. She's trained me several times, and she's a badass. I love her as a person, and I don't know. I know a lot of fighters, and I'm friends with a bunch, but she's a good friend of mine, and I have a lot of love for her. So I would say her.
Good.
But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's tons.
There's so many.
There's so many different types of fighters too.
Right.
So
As far as like just nice, like I would say Dustin Poirier is just such a nice, just good dude, such a classy dude.
Masvidal's a sweetheart.
Masvidal's our buddy.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know him.
Thug Rose. I've never met her or anything, but I just think
I've talked to her on Instagram.
Ah, dude, she's so fucking cool.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Ah, man. When they had UFC 249 was supposed to be back on, and it was just like the main events from all of these ones that got canceled. It was the craziest card ever, and then it didn't happen. But let's not alienate people who aren't fans of MMA. Let's try that thing. Hey, can we get can you look that way a little?